Because I'm gonna be champ forever!
Kyle Tolliver here, part of the Top Jobbers radio show, 1F here. I am here with Dustie Pitstick of POSER Wrestling. Now go ahead and tell us before we get started, what does POSER stand for?
POSER stands for the Professional Ohio Sports Entertainment Review, but really what it stands for is other people that wrestle elsewhere that called us posers, and we made words that fit in the letters so that we could keep that.
That's awesome. So for someone who doesn't know what POSER's about, go ahead and explain kind of the idea, how you guys got started with POSER Wrestling, what made you want to do it, and what it really is about.
The full story, I'll keep it short, is actually most of us, we are professionally trained, and a few of the guys have actually been doing this for years. But a lot of us are newer to it. We've only been training and going for about 2 years now. But we all come from bands, and we come from stand-up comedy, and we come from improv and a lot of different things like that. And one of our bands that myself and Adam Rorges are in do a song. It's The Macho Man, and it's just the Ramones cover of Spider-Man, but done about the Macho Man.
That's awesome.
We made this ridiculous video for it. Is like this like cheesy backyard federation thing with like an old Sony hand cam, so it looks like an old crappy VHS sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it really turned into, that came out right around the same time that Southpaw came out, the WWE did. And our big gripe with Southpaw was that of those gimmicks were so fun. That was such a fun little bit they did. I wish they would have filmed some matches for it. And then it turned into, well, some of us are trained. We've got trained friends. Let's just buy a ring and do that. And so it became this, like, we all know how to pitch in. It's super DIY. We're all just, everybody here that wrestled today also drove people and moved the ring and set up stuff and screen print the t-shirts and just wire this whole thing together. So it's really just a bunch of punk rock kids that saw all this silly stuff, saw a lack of that happening in real indie wrestling, and decided to go out and give it a shot.
And that's a good thing you brought up was with Southpaw. I think a lot of people said the same thing, is they wish that it would be like its own separate show because it obviously has a lot of legs. So you guys, like you said, have part of that. You have some crazy characters. Today I saw a dragon wrestle a monkey. I saw a ref wrestle while the match was being called by another ref. I saw a robot break due to his Russian tag team partner. I mean, you guys have all sorts of crazy things. What can people see, and what are some of the highlight characters when they come to a POSER show?
I mean, Evan Steele, the robot, he's a full cyborg. We have Drago, the Russian. Like you said, I had Bananas Foster, the monkey. We have Ricky, a dragon dreamboat, the dragon pop star. But something that I'm really a big fan of, too, is that we also have, you know, the local man Gavin, Midnight Matt Ryan, who's been doing it for years. We've got Harley, the wrestler. There's a lot of people here that, I don't want anybody to think that this is something where it's like cheesy backyard stuff or it's just making fun of wrestling. We all love wrestling, and there is real wrestling here. Just some of them might be an animal costume. So there's some goofy characters, and we do really try and do stuff that will reverberate off the audience and come back. That, I mean, how can you not want to cheer for somebody out in a monkey suit who is just screaming, like doing this voice and not even, we've done a match where the monkey's wrestling and the ref just doesn't understand him because he doesn't speak human in any way. So it's, we have fun with it and we have silliness with it. And I think anybody here, that nobody is the star here. Everybody is the star here because it gels so well together and everybody's on the same level about just being silly and having fun. So it just clicks.
Yeah, I've always said that the best wrestling shows are like a variety show. You have your big guys, your small guys. You have some of the crazy athleticism. And I think you guys definitely have that. Every single match has different characters. Every single character is memorable. And what I really liked about that was that even if you haven't seen every episode of your guys' show on YouTube, I understood the stories because you told a very good story in the ring. Is that something that you guys kind of put first, and when you're training together you really work on trying to get those stories out?
It 100% is something that we really shoot for. Is most of the shows that we have done and will continue to do are like fests and punk rock shows and a lot of stuff like that, and those people probably aren't watching our YouTube. And I 100% hope that if they see it and they like what they see, that they will kind of find us on social media or YouTube. But we have to go into every show with the mindset of most of these people probably don't know who your guys are. They probably don't know what the storyline is unless it's announced by the ref that, oh, hey, this is for this title, or that this is a loser leaves POSER match or something like that. So we have to go in thinking they're blind. What is the easiest and broadest way to make this fun, get across who's face and heel? And sometimes, honestly, the Evan Steele, the robot, is one of our favorite heels. The last show we did a big Halloween punk show a few weeks ago. He got huge pops, so we just have to roll with that. And you never, the audience, you can't tell the audience what they like. You have to let them like what they like. And as soon as he started doing the robot and breakdancing, people ate it up. They cried. They had a blast. People were crying, laughing. It was just really funny, especially because he does the robot so well that he does that character of just quiet and silent. And so when he started doing it, even us backstage, we're losing it. But yeah, so we keep it broad, we keep it fun to where if you go to the show, you will watch the match, you'll understand it. It's pretty lowest common denominator. It's easy to understand, it's fun. And if you happen to find us on social media, we film a lot of things between the matches and a lot of backstage segments. We were really heavily inspired by Lucha Underground with that, with almost that cinematic feel where you can tell your broad story to the audience that's there. They'll cheer. They'll have fun. Hopefully they'll cheer. And then you can tell your backstage story that, when you watch this on YouTube, it tells a whole story of why this is happening. But that live, it just stays kind of airy and fun and doesn't get too heavy for people.
Yeah, that's awesome, because that was actually going to be my next question is, what can people see when they leave a live show and find you guys on YouTube? Because you guys do a really good job. I would say it is like a sitcom or a sketch show combined with wrestling, with like almost wrestling as a backdrop. It's very well shot. It's very well edited. You guys are very tongue-in-cheek, and you really flesh out these characters. What are some reasons people should subscribe to your YouTube page and check you guys out online?
I would say the biggest reason to subscribe to our YouTube is we keep the episodes short. We keep stuff light so it's digestible. I'm a huge fan of Shikara events when they post them online, NXT, 205 Live. A lot of these shows that you're going to see 2 matches, a couple in between things, everything's done in 45 minutes. You can watch it before work or, at the end of your day. You don't have to sit down and consume hours and hours and matches and matches. This is just, it's quick, it's easy, it's digestible. And we, same as the live shows, we do keep it lighthearted. You had mentioned the way that we shoot and edit it. The idea that we set out for, you would call it a sitcom, was kind of, we wanted to do Lucha Underground meets Trauma meets Happy Days. Just like just this absurd comedy and also this weird horror element to it, and just over the top, like with some random gore and some fun, but it's serialized and it's fun. And I think what we ended up with, the best thing I've heard anyone say about it, someone said it feels like if Adult Swim did a public access wrestling show. Like,
that's actually the
very,
best.
like Eric Andre, that awkward public access vibe, and I think that's a really good way of doing it. Both of our commentators, which unfortunately one of them woke up super sick today and couldn't make it, but when you watch it and them doing the interviews and them doing the commentary, they have loved wrestling their whole lives, but they are very much casual fans. So it turns into this thing where it's awesome because they know wrestling, they know the characters, they love it. And a lot of people thought they were kind of making fun of it at first, but they're just calling the action the genuine way they know how. So, you know, they'll see a move and they're just, holy shit, what was that? Or one of the best lines I remember, one of them asked the other one while they called it, why do you call it an Irish whip? And he said, well, it's drunk and it can't hold down a job. And he's like, I don't know why they call it an Irish whip. So he's like, I'm not going to give the real wrestling history lesson because I don't know. So I'm just going to throw out this zinger. And it just creates this silly amount of comedy and this silly amount of fun that, if you go, it'll feel just like a goofy, awkward sitcom. And the whole reason it's got such a weird DIY and public access feel to it is because, frankly, none of us are formally trained in this. Like, we rented some cameras from the local public access, and we put ourselves in a position where we're like, okay, I'm going to get Final Cut, and I'm just going to learn to throw this together.
Yeah.
And there's, not to go too long with this story, but there's a thing that Victor Wooten said about bass playing that I really like, that he said, if you are too trained with scales and notes, you will only play in that box of scale and notes, and sometimes you need to go outside a little bit, and it may not sound good, but it may sound good. And since we're not 100% sure what we're doing, it's a very throw the dart and see what sticks approach, and it puts us in this thing where every once in a while we accidentally make something really cool, and it was not intentional. I don't want to come off in any way as saying that we're good at what we're doing, but we get lucky, and when we do, you know, you can go on YouTube and see some really funny and cool stuff.
I would say you guys are really good at what you're doing because you've developed this world. Now, you started off in Slam Diego, correct? That's
Yes.
the home of POSER Wrestling, Slam Diego, Ohio, correct?
Yes.
And you've actually had a chance to go outside of Slam Diego. Tell us about some of the events and some of the venues you guys have been lucky enough in a fairly short amount of time to spread out to and to show your product to.
It has been leashed into Ohio so far, but we have got to do a lot within Ohio. We did Matsuricon in Columbus, which is a big anime convention, and they ate it up. We had a packed room. They loved it. Actually, the only person that didn't love it was a guy that runs a podcast, and I guess one of our refs found his Twitter, and he was live tweeting the whole thing like, the belt's made out of plastic, and there's a freaking dragon, and like of all people, you would think a big wrestling guy at an anime convention would be the one that gets it. He thought we were trying to be serious, and he did not get it at all. Everyone else there loved it. Everyone else there ate it up. I can't officially say we'll be back next year, but if you live in Columbus in August, we'll be back next year. But we did that. We did Sideshow Fest in Dayton, which is like a big band and art festival. That one was, they put us outdoors, and we weren't really sure how it would go, but it ended up going really well. They put us right by the entrance to like the main grounds of the building, so as people were coming in, they pretty much, I'm going in to see bands and to see art and to see all this stuff, and we're right there by the gates, so they would just get there and just stop. And you can see on our YouTube, there's actually people outside the gates that never even made it in because that was the only place to still stand and see, and so we got a really good crowd for that one. That was actually my first match I ever wrestled in the monkey suit, or like wrestled in public whatsoever, and so that was really fun. That by the time I went on, it was under the stars. We had like 100 people out there, just maybe 10 of them wrestling fans, just people that saw it and how goofy it was and just ate it up, and it was really fun. We're here in Springfield today for Ability Builders. One of our commentators is the main guy here, and it's a day program for MRDD, and they're all huge wrestling fans. We're actually going to watch TakeOver on the big screen after this.
Yeah,
and,
that's awesome.
they watch old pay-per-views and they love it, and a lot of them, because of different mobility issues or behavioral issues, can't go to shows, so that's kind of why they did this here. Was a handful of them have actually been to other stuff, but most of them have never got to see it, so they're loving it. And it's the weirdest stuff that people get a hold of you and say, hey, we'll give you money to come do this here, and we're all just nerds playing dress up and having fun.
Yeah.
So the fact that anybody wants us to come do this is a blast.
And I think you kind of nailed it on the head there. Is in order to enjoy this, you don't necessarily have to know about PWG or indies or even really a lot about the main product. You see these bright characters, and because they draw your eye so much, you stick with it, and it's easy to digest, and you end up becoming a fan, and you could become a fan of more wrestling down the line. And I think that's awesome.
If we are in any way a gateway for anybody to fall in love with wrestling and see all of the amazing, serious stuff like PWG, and you've got the campy like Lucha Underground with like the Grindhouse vibe, and you've got stuff like Shikara that's a little more circusy like what we're doing. There's so much stuff out there, and if anybody finds that through lighter wrestling that kind of sucks them in like this, I'm happy to be a small cog in the wheel, and we're happy to be part of that. But that is kind of our goal, is to do punk shows and festivals and fun stuff where people that might look at wrestling as kind of trashy anime, like, oh, that's for nerds in their basement and kids and stuff, to like see it, and when you feel that fun live, it's kind of maybe get them to get why we do these stupid things and spend our money on it.
Any final words about POSER before we head out here?
Check out our YouTube, check out our social media. If you like what you see, get in touch with us. We're always doing something. Come out, enjoy and watch and holler and yell and have a fun time.
And then where exactly do people search? What do they search, or where can they find you on social media?
Our big ones, we have a Facebook. It's just POSER Wrestling on Facebook. POSER Wrestling is our Instagram handle as well. We do have a POSER YouTube. I'm a little too old to know how to run it, so actually one of our guys runs it. But it is there, and we do use all three of those to share videos, to share when we're doing events, to share where you can find stuff. But if you search POSER Wrestling on YouTube, that's where you'll find the bulk of it. And we do put all the links in our social media stuff, too, to get people there. I think as of right now, our last episode that went up Wednesday was our 28th episode.
Wow.
So there is quite a few. I think the longest one is maybe 32 minutes. Some of them are as short as 15. So
you can watch on your lunch break.
Very digestible. It's something that you can, pop one on here and there and get caught up pretty easily. So, it's all just quick, easy, digestible stuff.
And if they're the type of person they want to watch everything, they can watch it from episode 1 on YouTube, correct?
Literally everything is on YouTube, and it's all completely free.
Perfect. Well, this is Kyle Tolliver here with Dusty for the Top Jobbers radio show. Thank you so much, Dusty, for your time.
Absolutely.
Check out POSER on YouTube, and you guys have a great day.